Hello and welcome back to the My Menagerie channel. And today I wanted to do something a little bit different. This isn't a toy review; it's more of a movie review. I did review a couple dolls from the Disney's Descendants: The Rise of Red movie, and now that the movie has officially released, I wanted to kind of give my unscripted thoughts on the movie. As a fan of the Descendants franchise, I enjoyed the film. Um, I don't have a particular ranking for all of the movies. I think they're all quality wise about the same. There are like moments from each movie that I like love, but I can't rank them based on like my favorite. But I can do it based on the soundtracks. Disney's Descendants 3 is my favorite soundtrack. Then it's 2, then it's 1, and then The Rise of Red. This will be like a spoiler review, I guess. It's more me talking about the movie and like the plot holes or where I think Descendants 5 may go. Um, so yeah, definitely don't watch if you haven't seen the movie if you're not interested in seeing the movie and you just want more like honest thoughts about it, then watch it, I guess. So the movie like starts by having Principal Uma describe Ardon and the kingdoms that they have. And apparently Wonderland is this separate dimension kind of like they describe it as being underground and closed off from the rest of the other kingdoms. And what I found interesting was is that they retconned the Queen of Hearts being on the Isle of the Lost and had her kind of shut herself into Wonderland and lock away Wonderland from the rest of Oregon. Now, this is like really similar to Ever After High's Way to Wonderland, but in the sense that like their version of the evil queen locked Wonderland away. Like it wasn't voluntary, but neither was Descendants' Wonderland being shut off from the rest of the world. So everyone in Wonderland in Descendants is stuck there for like 30 years. No one is able to leave or come in, and that's like their own banishment, like the Isle of the Lost. And Uma, while Ben and Mal, Evie, and Jay are on a boat trying to make connection to other far off kingdoms, whatever that means, they could like find Australia and bring in Finding Nemo characters for whatever reason because they're gonna run out of characters eventually. But yeah, only Uma and Fairy Godmother are like really the only returning characters from the original franchise, and they left Uma in charge, and we got confirmation that I guess there's a Oradon University or college, and Fairy Godmother is going to be working there, which is cool. Like more spin-off potential, I guess. So that's nice, but Uma, just like just like Ben in the first movie, wanted to give the kids of Wonderland a chance to come to Oradon Prep and do better, I guess. So they also reintroduced the Charming family as well, with Brandy as Cinderella, um, the original person that played Prince Charming in that movie. I never watched it, so I'm not really sure who the actors are besides Brandy. Um, and then they brought in Chloe Charming, who was the daughter of Brandy and Prince Charming. They also like confirmed that Chad is also their son. I know a lot of people were like concerned that they'd like retcon Chad out of the story for some reason. No, they didn't. He's still their son, and that's a good thing. Um, and he is in college, and so I cannot remember if the dad was going to go see him play a tourney game at college, and that's the reason King Charming didn't go to Oregon with Chloe, but it was just Cinderella and Chloe, and then Bridget and Red going to the welcoming ceremony. So after that, hijinks ensues. The Queen of Hearts ends up staging a coup against Oridon Prep and tries to take it over, I guess, because technically, since King Ben is not there, I assume he left Uma in charge of all of Oridon? Question mark. I don't know why Ben's parents wouldn't be in charge of all of Oridon. I don't know why the Queen of Hearts would specifically target the prep school and not the castle and the kingdom of Oridon. But yeah, she took over the prep school and had plans to take over the rest of the kingdom. This isn't a complaint, it's just like a minor nitpick. Like it gets the point across, like, yeah, okay, the royal family's not there, but yeah, it's more of a plot hole. I didn't find issue of it with it. Like it, story wise, it still made sense for her to take over the school. So one thing I didn't mention is that Maddox Hatter. It's not clear if he is the Mad Hatter or if he is the son of the Mad Hatter. That isn't clear at all in this movie. But he made a time machine pocket watch thing and gives it to Red and tells her to use it, and it will send her into time where her heart says something about like being where she needs to be. Something like that. She takes it. Theoretically, it could send her to the future, and I'm not sure why it didn't. Like, it could have just sent her to a time her and her mother would be happy, unless that's like physically impossible for them, and that's why it sent her back in time to like stop her from being mean and evil. But we find out, thanks to Brandy and Bridget, that someone played a prank on Bridget at Castle Cumming, and that event was so traumatic that it caused Bridget to lose all of her kindness and sweetness and turn into the evil queen. So Red and Chloe end up traveling back in time during the coup of Ordon, and they end up at Merlin Academy. And this entire school makes no sense. You need to like suspend your disbelief so much for it to like even be coherent. And like this isn't a bad thing. It sounds really negative, but like the entire Descendants franchise makes absolutely no sense. Like logistically. So I mean, it's not a complaint. It's just like more of a huh? But one thing that I did like about this was that when Cinderella goes to Merlin Academy, she also still has to go home to Lady Tremaine's house, and she still is the like scullery maid for Lady Tremaine. From what I could tell, there was dormitories at Merlin Academy, but I guess Lady Tremaine made her go live at home with her. And that kind of like makes sense character wise for Lady Tremaine. And there is one character in the movie that absolutely should not be there under any circumstances, and that is Rapunzel, aka Zelly, who is the younger version of Rapunzel, and she has dyed rainbow hair, and she absolutely should not be in this movie. She has no speaking lines from what I remember, and I don't know why the media part of her, or the media or promotion for the movie kind of promoted her, I guess. She was so irrelevant. But based on the logic that Ella goes home after school, that would mean either Rapunzel has to go to a dormitory or she gets locked into the tower after school. Either scenarios does not make any sense with the movie or the story of Rapunzel. So yeah, back to the characters, I guess. So Red and Chloe don't reveal their identities. They end up telling Merlin, the principal at the time, that they are transfer students from a faraway land or kingdom or something. And he ends up teaching alchemy class in his office, and has Bridget and Bridget talk to Red, and Ella talk to Chloe, and get them acquainted and situated as new students. And Red is just flustered, oh, you're my mom, you look so nice, you talk so sweet, yada yada yada. And then Chloe finds out her mom was a peasant and scullery maid and was not always a princess. And that kind of took me by surprise too, because I also forgot that Cinderella was basically a commoner before she became a princess. Just because when we first see Brandy in the movie, she's all elegant and princess like. You just kind of when you think of Cinderella, you think of the princess, her as a princess. You rarely think of her as the cleaning lady. That's the first thing that comes to your head is the princess. So I kind of forgot that part of her, and I thought that was really interesting that Chloe barely recognized her as her mom, and the other students kind of bullied Ella for being a commoner too. And I was like, wow, yeah, that is true. I completely forgot about that. But they also bullied Bridget as well. From what Bridget tells us, she was homeschooled in Wonderland and then came to Merlin Academy. And Ella is her only friend, and she's trying to make friends with everyone by making them treats and whatnot. And based on this, we're introduced to the main villain of the movie, second main villain, I guess, actually. And then it's Oleana, who is my favorite of the two villains. Um, Oleana is Ursula's baby sister. Yeah, they ran out of ideas. They could have just used Ursula. Don't know why they didn't just do that, but Ur- Oleana's entire gang is just so funny to me. Like, I love Maleficent's hair being her horns. That's just so funny to me. I love how she and Hades are just a couple in this movie in the background. And then we have Hook and Morgie. Morgie is so useless in this movie. You I don't know why they made basically a brand new Disney character for him to be the son of. People were telling me that Morgana Le Fay is the villain of Sophia the First of all things. I don't know if I believe that. Her name just happens to be Morgana. Same could also be said of Ursula's other sister, Morgana. But yeah, Morgie, new character. They literally could have just used any other character and had them fill Morgie's spot. Like, They could have used Frollo, Mother Gothel. No, they couldn't have used Mother Gothel because of Rapunzel. But they could have used Dr. Facilier, literally anyone, to replace Morgie. Because he had like maybe 5 lines in the whole movie. But yeah, everyone was confused by him even existing before the movie came out. And I don't think they're going to be any less confused once they watch the movie. So, anyway, Oleana confronts Bridget and eats her like flamingo cupcakes. And apparently, the feathers on the flamingo cupcakes turn you into a flamingo. So, Oleana, just out of like pure bullying and pettiness, takes all of the flamingo feathers off of the cupcakes and then eats them, and then she ends up turning into a flamingo. Like, completely her fault. Bridget warned her, and she did it anyway. And after like humiliating herself, vows to get revenge on Bridget, which like you did it to yourself. I'm surprised her crew like stuck around or like still treated her as the big bad of the group. I would have thought Maleficent would have like tried to be more prominent in the group, but the only character that was like speaking and had like a decent role in Uliana's gang was Hook, and that's about it. Um, Everyone else was like a background character, but Uliana has this like really cool layer. It's like in a fish in a black lagoon, and it looks really cool. Like the budget for this movie's CGI was great. It visually looked really good compared to the other 3 Descendants movies. And in their lair, they sing a song. It's a really good song. Um, to come up with a plan to prank Bridget, I guess. And that is where they come up with the thing that turns her evil, in which Red and Chloe have to stop for her to not be evil in the present. And that plan was for Oleana to bake some cupcakes for Bridget and have them be like cursed and turn Bridget into a monster at the castle coming dance. And that is the event. If Red and Bridget hadn't interfered in the time stream, that would have made the Queen of Hearts evil. And that's fine. I don't have any issues with that plot. Um, After this point in the story is where it kind of gets a little rushed. Not rushed. It's a very concise story. I just wish it had an extra 30 minutes to it. I would have loved to see the castle coming. Um, my favorite song from the soundtrack, Shuffle of Love, was not like a song people sung and danced to. It was just Bridget playing it in her headphones and practicing it for the dance. I would have loved to see her dance to that at Throne Coming. Or, not Throne. Throne Coming is Ever After High. Castle Coming is Descendants. I'm going to review the songs at the end, or just give my brief comments on them. But I think one of my favorite parts of the movie was also during this time. Red and Chloe got into an argument or something. I forgot about what. Literally does not matter at all. But Chloe and Ella end up doing some gardening together. And I thought this dynamic was like really, really interesting. Like when Cinderella grows up, she kind of like shelters Brad and Chloe from that life that she used to have. And she does treat them like princes and princesses. Like Chloe is privileged and she is unaware of how to do like basic chores like mopping. From what we see earlier in the movie, asks Chloe and Red to help out with the chores around Lady Tremaine's house, and Chloe is struggling. So I thought that was really interesting that Cinderella didn't like teach them basic skills. You would think like maybe she was just so traumatized by that experience that she never wanted to like have her kids go through that, and that kind of like stumped their abilities to do like basic household skills. And then they sing a song about like doing things that are technically wrong, but for the right reasons. And that's like a really relevant song, I guess. They use a couple examples like Robin Hood. Chloe's like, yeah, he's a good guy. And Ella's like, well, he's still stealing. And Chloe's like, but he's giving it to the poor. And Bridget, not Bridget, Ella has to like explain, like, yeah, but it was for a good cause. And like everything is shades of gray and it's never black and white. And she uses like, oh, there's a witch doing something evil. And Chloe's like, well, that must be bad. And then Ella's like, she might have kids that she's providing for, like telling the audience that they need to like have empathy and like consider that there may be factors going into the reasons that people may or may not be doing something quote unquote bad. And I loved that moment of the movie. I thought it was really good. Um, but this is all towards the really end of the movie. And the climax happens 14 minutes before the movie ends. And I'm sitting there like, how are they going to end this all? They're still in the past. Like, what is going to happen? This is why I like made the suggestion that it should be 30 minutes longer. Um, so in Merlin's office, they're trying to steal a cookbook that Oleana is trying to steal. They're trying to get it before she does, so she doesn't end up pranking Bridget. And like hijinks ensues again in the office. Once they grab the book, like some swords come to life, a knight shows up, whatnot, and tries to stop Red and Chloe. It gets to the point where they like get stopped by Oleana and her crew, except not really. Like everything ends at that moment. They show up, and Oleana ends up opening the cookbook, and there's like another curse in placed into it, and it freezes her entire crew to the point where they can't move. And Chloe and Red end up framing them for the break-in to Merlin's office, and that's just kind of how the villains are dealt with. They get detention for the rest of the year, I guess, or something like that, and that saves Bridget from being bullied at the castle coming dance. So Red and Chloe then go back to the future, and everything is seemingly the exact same as before they left. Seemingly, Uma is giving a speech, and then the Queen of Hearts is playing around with some cards, just like she did before she like took over the thing. And then the same line of dialogue happens. Uma's like, excuse me, do you mind? And the Queen of Hearts is like, actually, yes, I do mind. And then stands up and then throws these cards, which at the beginning of the movie sent all of her soldiers out, like Pokeballs or something. She like threw them in the air, and then all the cards turned into soldiers. Except this time, she threw the cards in the air, and they all turned into little heart bubbles. And she was just like, I can't contain my joy. I couldn't help myself. And smiling and all giggly and bubbly and laughing. And everyone cheers and is like, happy that that happened, and that's like the sign that, oh yeah, what they did in the past worked. And then they have a dance party, because of course they do. At a welcoming ceremony, like right after the speech, they just have a dance party. I thought that was really awkward, but like, how else are you gonna end a kids movie? Because every kids movie has to end with a dance party, apparently. Um, I knew that was gonna happen, but whatever, it's fine. And then at the end, Uma does the iconic, "You didn't think this was the end of the story, did you?" And then we already got confirmation on Instagram from Kylie Kentrell that there was going to be a Descendants 5, but now we have like actual confirmation in the movie, like, oh, you didn't think this was the end of the story. And then Uma says they messed with the fabric of time and there's consequences for that. And I cannot wait to find out what that is. Um, Earlier, I had discussed on like the Descendants Discord that what if these consequences are that like since the Queen of Hearts now was never a villain, Wonderland never should have been like locked up. So like how I wonder how that's gonna affect, I guess, Oridon's relationship with Wonderland. Actually, you know what? That doesn't make any sense. If Wonderland was shut off, how did Alice's daughter go to Oridon Prep? Like in the short cartoon series, Alice's daughter's there. Well, technically, she's not native to Wonderland. Like, she technically was a visitor. But in Ever After High, Alistair Wonderland is a Wonderlandian and was stuck in Wonderland. I don't know. Just more questions and more plot holes. But that is the end of the movie. I will now get into the songs. I'm going to keep it really short. So the first song is Red, and I think this is a really good intro song and a really good character song. There's some moments that I don't love, like the parts with the guards singing. I think that's really annoying. But the parts Kylie sings is really good. The next song is So This Is Love, which is Brandy and King Charming singing it. And I loved this version of it. It was so melodic. Um, yeah, I really liked it. Definitely top 3 songs in the movie. Next is Love Ain't It, which is the duet between Red and the Queen of Hearts. I hated this song. It was so bad. And from what I've seen in the fandom and on Twitter is that people really loved this song and loved the Queen of Hearts singing. I hated it. It was exposition, exposition, exposition. I did not like it. And it just was really off to me. And then we have quite possibly my favorite song in the franchise, What's My Name. I loved What's My Name in Descendants 2. That was my favorite song. Uma is my favorite character. I loved this song. I love Uma. I love how they changed it. The version that they used in the movie was significantly shorter than the soundtrack version. Red did not sing in the movie for this song. But I'm happy they included it anyway. Next is Fight of Our Lives. This is the song that happens before they go in the past. And it's just Red and Chloe arguing. Basically, Red just calling her privileged little princess and Chloe denying it. Like, I worked hard for all of my achievement. I don't care. This song is forgettable. Next is Life is Sweeter. I'm mixed on this song. This is sung by Bridget. And it is also an exposition song. And there are very cringy moments in this. Like, Bridget's like, oh, it's Aladdin and Jasmine. And then Aladdin's like, call us gelatin. And I'm like, I am never going to call you guys that. That is awful. Please stop. I guess my favorite parts of it are the parts Bridget sings before we get to the Merlin Academy students just interrupting. And then after that, when the villain kids start singing and introducing themselves, that definitely is a better part. Next is Oleana's villain song, and it is really good. It is called Perfect Revenge. The choreography was amazing. The song was amazing. It was so catchy. There was even a Poor Unfortunate Souls reference in it. Then is my absolute favorite song from the soundtrack that did not get a scene in the movie, Shuffle of Love. It is so good. Bridget sings it. She's practicing to dance it at Castle Coming in the movie. We do not get to see her dance to it fully, and that is disappointing. I think this is also the credit song too, which is fine. I hope Disney does like a music video version of it later on like YouTube or something where the cast is like dancing to it. That would be really fun, really nice. Then we have Get Your Hands Dirty. This is the song between Chloe and Cinderella in the past when they're gardening. And song-wise, it's an okay song, but like melody-wise, it's okay. But like lyrically, it's a pretty good song. Like message-wise, I liked it. Nothing like too great, and it wasn't horrible. Then there's Life is Sweeter Reprise and Life is Sweeter Remix. I don't remember Life is Sweeter Reprise being in the movie, but Life is Sweeter Remix is what plays during the Auradon dance party at the end of the movie. So yeah, just it's fine. Just it's a remix of that. And then lastly is Bad Reputation, which was some like promo material songs. I think it was in the teaser trailers too. It's a fine song. This is like the after credit song, I guess. Like while the credits are playing, after Shuffle of Love. It's fine. Again, not great, not good. I mean, not bad, not great. It's okay. And just like the soundtrack, it's not bad. None of the Descendants soundtracks are bad. They're all good. They're all okay. But if I had to rank them again, actually, I'm gonna lower Descendants too. I'm gonna go with three. Three had the best soundtrack. Then one. Then Rise of Red and two are tied. I can't decide which one's subjectively the worst. And none of them are like bad. They're not bad soundtracks. They're just my personal ranking of them. But yeah, Rise of Red and Descendants 2 are tied. There's just certain songs from each soundtrack of those that I love, love, love. But Descendants 3 has bangers throughout the entire soundtrack. Same with Descendants 1. Like, whereas 2 and Rise of Red, they're like scattered around. And I have to like, I can't play the entire soundtrack and like be fine with it. So this is the end of like my thoughts. This wasn't a review of the movie. It was just my like post movie thoughts, I guess. It was definitely a solid B movie. Maybe a B minus. But none of the Descendants movies are S tier movies. I wouldn't even rank them in the A's. I would rank them all the same as like B plus, B, and B minus. None of them are cinema, but I don't think I can even rank them as my favorites. They're all part of the same story, which is weird. Like I can rank most franchise movies as and have a favorite, but I can't pick one for Descendants. They're all like good. But yeah, that's the end of this rambling video. I don't know if you stuck around to finish it. Probably not. Who knows? But I'm done.